I won't be there. I planned on it, but our next guest definitely will be. Let's welcome to the program, Kenzie Morrison. Kenzie, how are you?
Hey, good. How are y'all doing?
Well, we're doing great. I appreciate your time. I was going to get into the Rocky later, but since Ed played my ringtone, Rocky, in full disclosure, Rocky V and that segment with the street fight is my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah, man. That's obviously one of my favorites, too. So I was going to say, kudos to whoever did the intro. That was sweet.
Oh, great. All right. He's laughing. So how often do you watch, that? And do you watch the whole movie or just from the time he walks in and that you knock him down segment?
Oh, every time I watch it, I watch the whole movie. I'm kind of a Rocky trilogy fan. That one has a little extra sugar because Dad's in it. But I normally watch the whole thing.
Let's talk about Saturday, and it really is my ringtone. So I think of your family and obviously your dad every time I get a phone call. Tell us about the transition. Obviously, you've been boxing. How did you get interested in bare knuckle and BKFC? Did Dave Feldman call you? Did your people call him? How did that go down?
Well, actually, I reached out to David. And it was just kind of where boxing was at the time and where my career was at the time. Everything has kind of shifted, and it just seemed I was too close to try to hang up the gloves to quit or move on or whatever. So I reached out to David, and he gave me this opportunity, which I'm grateful for.
How different is training, or is it different at all? From when you're training for a boxing match to a bare knuckle match.
Really, some of the only things that have changed is, you got to train with gloves off to toughen up your hands, and then the time of the periods is a little shorter. So outside of that, technically it's really similar. It's hard to spar bare knuckle, obviously, and try to absorb those shots or get used to stuff like that because of the danger of cuts and everything. But we've sparred with smaller gloves and headgear and tons of grease. And made it work, but it's new to me. I'm excited about it, and I think everybody's excited about it. So I just have kept it similar to boxing, but had to change the things that we seem necessary. Obviously fighting out of a clinch too is a big deal. So just focusing on the key things that are different, and trying to put those in play.
I've asked every fighter that I've had on, and I've covered the BKFC, I've covered bare knuckle BKFC since day one, also covered the UFC since day one. My question, and since you're coming from the boxing world, when I ask Mike Richmond or those guys, how do you keep it a boxing match and keep out of the brawling that more times than not bare knuckle goes to?
Well, I don't think that I'm going to try. I think that some of the problems that I had in boxing was trying to hold back. In a way, and sit behind a jab and try to pick those shots and do those things. And the more and more I study this bare knuckle, it is more of a sprint, than a marathon. And I think the guy that gets there first normally comes out on top. So this is kind of how we're training. We're training to brawl.
So Kenzie, with that being said, I mean, the difference between boxing and bare knuckle, obviously, but what's your take on the Jake Paul influencers now? I mean, are they earning the respect in the boxing community? Are you still chasing that fight eventually at some point to show there's levels to this game?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I'm hoping that I do well in this, and then it gives me a little bit more thunder to pursue that eventually. He's picking and choosing exactly who he wants to fight, and he's avoided me on purpose for a very long time. So I'm not saying I've given up, but my focus has changed, and I'm all in and focused on bare knuckle and trying to get as far as I can in this, and then we'll worry about Jake Paul whenever he grows some cojones.
This Saturday, you toe the line in Texas. Give me your thoughts on your opponent.
What I found of him, Alex Davis he's a tough guy. He's 5'7" in BoxRec. 1-1 in BKFC, and he's not super fast. There's nothing about him that's crazy flashy, but he's a durable guy. And I'm excited to get in there and get my feet wet and test out my skills with bare knuckle, and then plan on moving forward.
What's your plan? I mean, if you have one, and if you want to divulge it, I mean, is this a one-off fight? Is it let's see how this goes if I enjoy it, or is this now your new gig?
This is definitely my new gig for the 4 fights that I've signed up with, and then maybe beyond. Depending on how everyone likes me and how the fans receive me. And as far as the game plan, man, we've focused on some things. We've picked some things that we think that he's not so great at, and we're looking to capitalize on those. I don't really want to disclose those online, but I'm gonna show you Saturday.
Question, that I've asked numerous times, and obviously you would have been asked this more than I've asked it. I've talked to Kyle Petty. I've talked to Barry Bonds. I've talked to Peyton Manning. What is it like, being the son of a famous athlete, a legend? Is it more pressure? Is it no pressure? Kyle told me the name gets me in the door, Kyle Petty, but I still have to go out there and perform. Give me your thoughts.
Oh, that's 100% true. Whenever I first started fighting, my first 3 fights were under my mom's name. Because I didn't necessarily know how I was going to do or whatever, and I was trying to slip in kind of under the radar. But once you kind of realize and it clicks that that's what you want to do, it definitely helps get you in the door. But it also puts a hell of a target on your back. That's why a lot of the times guys are coming at their best to try to beat you, because if they do, they get that on their resume type thing. So there's pros and cons with it, but I think that any guy that admires and honors their father and looks up to them and things that their accomplishments, I think that they always want to do it for themselves as well. As do I. My main drive is my family and for myself, and to carry on the legacy that my dad has left me. So, but I know everybody's different too.
Sure.
But for me, it's a motivator, and it's helped a lot. But for the last 3 or 4 years, man, I want to leave a name for myself in the sport.
Hey, Kenzie,
I'll be up there with him.
Let me piggyback off that, because just listening to you, and I was going to bring this up earlier, and I didn't know how because like Randy said, some athletes don't like being referred to or the path that their parent might have set in the sport. But just listening to you, and I don't know, it's the accent, delivery, whatever, but you sound just like your father. I don't know if it's the tone of your voice, but I'm listening to you. I've never heard you before, but I'm listening to you, and I don't know if it's the words you speak, your delivery, or whatever. So you're saying when you hear that you take that as a compliment.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know. I guess the man just had really strong genetics. Don't say that in front of my mom, though.
Are you a fan of other sports teams, players? Tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of sports. Right now I'm really into the Razorback baseball scene because they're doing really well, and I live right here in Fayetteville. I was a basketball player, had 2 full-ride scholarships coming out of high school. Kind of turned them down to go to the workforce, and I'm consumed with fighting and boxing and learning and trying to evolve myself. So I don't really get to follow a whole lot of stuff, but I do my favorites. I'm an Oklahoma fan. The Thunder, they're doing well right now, luckily, and then Razorbacks. So that's really who I keep up with.
When we talk to fans, they're always coming to get autographs, pictures, memorabilia, all that kind of stuff. I travel in a lot of the combat world, and I always ask the athletes, what do you collect? Whether it's your stuff, whether it's people you look up to, or it may not even be related to the combat world.
And I collect guns.
Okay. That's not a bad hobby, that's for sure.
I'm a big outdoorsy type guy. I do a lot of hunting, fishing, and camping, and just that's the type of stuff that brings me peace whenever I'm not grinding and training. I like to take my family out and spend time where we're supposed to be.
Final question for you, and Kenzie, we certainly do appreciate your time. How do you process the next couple days? Saturday, the weekend, I always call it Christmas when you get to go do what you love. The next couple days, is it stressful? Do you not think about it? How will you get through?
Oh, I think that it should go pretty smooth. I've done it for a long time. I've never done it with BKFC. I don't know how the program works and everything, but I've got the itinerary and I think that all the hard work's done, and I've already made up my mind that I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and I think that it'll just go pretty smooth. I've never been a big amped up, talker or a lot of that. I just kind of let it show in the ring, and hopefully everybody enjoys the show. wants to see me again. That's all I can ask for.
Well, we can't wait for you to get in and do your thing when you toe the line, BKFC this weekend. Thank you very much for your time. I know that we've got your address. We're going to send you a care package from 8 Man Strong along with Bucked Up Energy Drink, and hopefully we can get you back on and talk again.
All righty, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you guys very much.
Take care. That is Kenzie Morrison toeing the line. Your boy Jeff Houston's going to be making the announcement this weekend, and I'm going to be watching.